What can I pray about?
Well, hello there, social media family. Being any person among yourselves, and I say from my followers, as in subscribers to visitors, even so, affiliated or associated with and or representing my own particular YouTube social media channel, and likewise chat room, conversation, well, whatever, or however to say it, say it for the record, or you can as well all saying. How are you all doing? And for that matter, how are any of your loved ones, being from family members to friends who are affiliated, associated with, representing your many different personal households? Hopefully all's well that ends well. One and many, with more quite a few of you and yours, and likewise with me and mine. But then if any of your persons as visitors are newbies, as in newcomers to that being of my own particular domain, that in which I am the sole owner thereof, or to that of my channel, and likewise chat room comment section, then please do just as much or that much more than to just press the like button to any of my social media broadcasts of video content material or posts to be possibly considered. Then because until you were to think to do just that of man's intentions, then you're just wasting not only my time but yours as well. So please do press the subscribe button. Otherwise, don't press any buttons, because you could press the like button all you want until the cows come home. But nevertheless, that doesn't or don't get me paid, And I myself, being my person, still need 4,000 subscribers before, any of some of such persons among themselves, a YouTube administrative representative personnel will begin paying me for any social media broadcasts or video content material posts, which I could possibly produce. Although or regardless of how I will continue to try to think to broadcast, I can't do anything else so far as in due regard in reference to that being which is of a religious nature or spiritual, provided that it don't or doesn't become a conflict of interest, or with the exception, if any were to possibly, any of some such were to possibly become a contradiction to what I myself personally believe in. Otherwise, I will produce any religious matters of spiritual nature of content material for free. And moving right along. Now, tonight's, or with the present social media broadcast being as is, some such video content material is of a rather sensitive and or likewise controversial matter. So, if any of your persons among yourselves have some rather sensitive ears, then please do feel free to pay a visit to any other social media channels until you can or could possibly muster the courage to come back to that being of my own. And whereas this particular social media broadcast of video content material or a post is about involving, concerning, regarding, I make a reference to or whatever I have said and stated for record, be I speaking correct, proper standard English grammar of American dialect for our own adopted native tongue with all its grammatical usages and with a rather extensive, versatile, expressive, and or impressive vocabulary. Not, yes, as it is In due regard, reference to how this one young, born and raised female person representing the opposite sex of a woman being of a Brazilian citizen had romanced the thought of contemplating engaging in this particular sport activity of bungee jumping. That the late pastor-Jerry-Falwell had tried out for himself and thinking to do so for the first time and the last time. Not that anything tragic happened to him, but unfortunately, the results of developments were not so favorable for this Brazilian citizen of a woman, whereas the persons who were supposed to be supervising her, preparing her for some such event as that being, whereas for some reason or another they supposedly had forgotten to attach the rope in the process of preparing her for the bungee jump to either her waist or her ankles. And you could search any social media engine for that video clip or any network or website, and you can witness how the rope is laid to the side by itself, and the woman is holstered over the shoulders of these guys or fellas with the rope not attached to her physical body in any kind of way, and then whereas they just throw her off of a cliff or a mountain, and then she takes a nosedive and crashes to the ground. But then, nevertheless, the supervisors of the event that were supposed to be preparing her for that particular sport activity, they were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Whereas, if I had been there, just imagine. I would be thrilled to become a spectator as well as a participant, provided that a rope is attached to me and securely, and hopefully the supervisor will not forget to attach some such. But then it would take quite a bit to get me up to that height, then, because I have a phobia of heights anyway. I would have been so overjoyed to want to at least become a spectator, if not, so willing just as much to become a participant in that particular sports activity. I would have been like, oh, wow, come on with it, let's go. You go, girl. And then if I were to have to witness some of such from there, and pardon me, that is some excuse, pardon, forgive me, if some may take my demeanor to be something rather worse. I'm not meaning to be offensive or disrespectful, but then if you be serious all the time in this world, you'll go completely bonkers. Especially if you have neighbors from downhill like what I have in my present public nuisance, the problem neighbors in this really bad neighborhood. And whereas unfortunately, presently, my living arrangements have been jeopardized after and speaking upon some such other matter. Now they come around like I'm wagging the dog, change the subject, but I get back to the original one in due time. Whereas neither the maintenance personnel for the building nor the what you call the housing agency inspector bothered to properly introduce, and or neither nor did they properly identify themselves, and I'm not about to open my apartment door to anybody. So when they had showed up, they didn't do so, and whereas from there, I had called the police only after calling the management of the building. I couldn't get in contact with them for the first floor business office, and where somebody else took the call and said that they would relay the information to them But then when the police show up, then here come the management of the building with them, and they're claiming I'm being non-compliant because I didn't let those other persons in. I'm like saying, what am I supposed to do? Let everybody come into my apartment unannounced, not properly introducing, neither nor properly identifying themselves. Whereas from there, I could get my throat slashed or sliced from ear to ear, get popped with a poo-poo, where somebody could blow my brains out. Come on now. Be serious. No, I don't know about you, but I live in the real world. You know, and a knife hurts just as much as that is. That is a knife wound hurts just as much as a bullet wound. You know. And now, whereas I'm to wait for a termination letter that was be saying and stating for the record that my rental assistance payments are suspended or terminated until further notice. And whereas from them to take the termination letter correspondence to housing agency, housing organization, business office, and then make a request for a formal hearing as well for a rescheduled housing inspection appointment so that I can have my eligible or qualified status reinstated to once again be eligible or qualified to have rental assistance payments resumed for my person. You know. Anyway, though, getting back to the original subject. And to continue from when my plan last left off, as I tried to think of it with my intentions to do so, you know, here and now to try to think likewise to finish up as a complete form of previous prior line of thought. And so these supervisors of this bungee jump, they were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. You know. Now I'm wondering how in the world did you forget to attach a rope to somebody's waist or ankle? You know, in view of the circumstances of one of the much more dangerous or one of the most dangerous sports activities to be possibly considered. You know, right? And whereas if I myself had been there, I would have been like, you know, I've been so overjoyed to at least become a participant, if not, you know, equal as well. I mean, I would be overjoyed to at least become a spectator, is what I meant to say. Prince Peace continue to remain non-competitive. Prince, if not equal as well, all the same, a participant, you know. And no offense or disrespect is meant to the victim of this rather tragic failed bungee jump, you know. But anyway, if I had been there, I would have been like, "Oh wow, yeah, let's get this party started. Let's get the ball. Let's get this party started. Let's get the show on the road. Let's get the ball rolling, whatever, you know. Yeah, you go, girl." And then when I could have witnessed, you know, if I had not been able to see that the rope was not attached to her, otherwise I would have been, "Hold on, guys, Bella, don't throw her off the cliff or the mountain yet. She's not attached." But then, if by some reason or another I were not to have noticed that, and then she's thrown off as in catapulted off the cliff of the mountain to the valley below, I would have been like, you know, like, right. Don't nobody call me to be a character witness in the courtroom for you for what had happened, because that's on you. But if anybody wanted to call me to prove as a witness otherwise, then because negligence is no excuse for a mistake gone wrong, of error on somebody's part, and you should pay the severe, serious consequences for your actions. Because, if I had been there, nevertheless, I would have been like, oh, that must really hurt. Oh, I'm going to be over here or over there. I'm going over here or over there. Nobody called me to come forth as a character witness for you in the courtroom of law, with the exception if I'm to be called otherwise as a witness to this rather tragic event, then I will give my views and opinions within a court of law as to what I have witnessed. And, that's on you. Ain't nowhere in the world can you explain away how you forgot to attach a rope to somebody before throwing or catapulting them off of a cliff or mountain, Don't do the crime and you won't do the time. Baby! You may as well have sexually assaulted or raped or molested that woman. At least she wouldn't be dead or deceased, with some such other, such an unacceptable and criminally illegal, civil, and human rights violation. Not that I'm condoning some or such other, and vice versa. But then I would think that the sexual assault or rape is more so that to be considered as a living damn hell than if somebody would just unalive another person. Well, that's just my views and opinion upon that last one. But anyway, though, whereas the supervisors of this event, like I said in a statement before, then let me reiterate it of a statement, or let me repeat. They were arrested and they were charged with first-degree murder, and more likely, more often than not, they will be convicted. 9 times out of 10. Because it should prove to have be a no-brainer, as it's self-explanatory. Negligence is not an alibi for something so obviously, and evidently to be considered of a line of thought that common sense would say that you attach a rope to somebody in due regard and in reference to that particular sport before you just throw them off of a cliff or a mountain, Duh. How could you possibly forget to do that? You may as well just purposely then by accident having done so with or without an accomplice in crime, Anyway, I just thought to share that with you all persons, and I can only imagine the grief that the surviving loved ones, relatives, and friends have become subjected to experiencing, and I extend my condolences to one and all, to more than quite a few of them. Then I can only imagine the fire trucks and several other civil servants, public officials showing up, in addition to CSI and the regular police and detectives and doctors and nurses, paramedics, ambulance, whatever. Anyway, during this last note of interest, I'd like to say, and that is, if you have not gotten Christ as your own personal Lord and Savior, I hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing and realizing whatever I've said, how he, being God, who had come in human flesh in the form of a male, had permitted himself to be crucified at the hands of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, being more so a man of mostly religious practices and to be crucified so they can restore the breach between himself and mankind made in his image, so that anybody, regardless of race, walk of life, gender, age, or etc., who could possibly think of it with my attention to profess faith in him, from there come or be blessed in one regard or another, more ways than one. First and foremost, with his salvation, as a result of his blood sacrifice, as he was crucified on the cross of Calvary. Whereas from there, once professing faith in him, an individual person will become, be considered as a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, a member of the house of faith, family of God, and likewise would acquire the only salvation that would become, that would have, and likewise, individual person would acquire his salvation as a result of the development of his blood sacrifice, being of which is the only fire insurance against the fiery flames, the lake of fire, damn hell, is what I meant to say. Prince, please continue regular mind, compatible, high Prince of Darkness, speak regardless of whether or not I'm speaking correct English grammar methodology. And then, second of all, we will be blessed with his deliverance. But first, you have got to get his salvation, otherwise, you have nothing come for our general blessings is concerned. And unless you're one of the few unsaved persons who could possibly become subject to experiencing those beyond and back experiences, and be able to come back into this world and reverse the decision you would have made to reject so great salvation, then you would be assembled with the majority of most who go to damn hell as unsaved human beings, whereas your immortal human soul will be thrown in there, and whereas you will be tortured and terrorized, traumatized by the devil and the demons and burned forever there, compared to how we as believers in God will be across a great divide that separates heaven from hell, being a couple of like-minded believers, and likewise being the presence of, and equal as well, also being in the presence of God and his angels, and so be blessed down here upon the planet Earth, and hopefully while we're in the world, we could possibly come and be an even greater blessing unto others by sharing with them the gospel message of salvation of our Lord and Savior Christ, resulting from the development of his blood sacrifice, so that they could also become citizens of the kingdom of heaven, members of the household of faith, aka family of God, and likewise possibly share the gospel message of salvation with still another or others, so that they don't have to go to damn hell, so that they could also become citizens of the kingdom of heaven and share the gospel message of salvation. Music to be played for us by a wonderful American. And there you have it. At the Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival. So, drawing things to a conclusion. And if you are a newbie, as a newcomer, please think to do just as much, if not more, as in, likewise, press the subscribe button, then just the like button in my social media broadcast and video post content material, Yes, and hopefully after the second or third time that you pay my channel, likewise, my chat, my conversation, a visit, because I still need 4,000 subscribers before I can get paid by the YouTube administrative representative personnel. Although I will continue to produce anything of a religious or supernatural, spiritual nature, provided that it doesn't become a conflict of interest or with the significant word to contradict what I myself personally believe in. As a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, a member of the household of faith, aka the family of God. So on that last note of interest, I say you all take care and be safe, be blessed, not stressed. If and when you can, could possibly yourselves become members of the household of faith and the family of God, citizens of the kingdom of heaven. And I will talk to you later. Don't ask me, only God knows. Until then, now I guess it's a wrap. And we're out. Peace.